This video is brought to you by Squarespace, where you can build your own little home on the internet, all on one platform. So this time around, I baked my tofu because, sometimes you just can't even bother to get a pan out. However, I did need something to go along with that, so had to bust one out to saute my kale, and this was on its last leg, so that's honestly the only reason I'm using this. I was trying to catch it before it turned yellow. As with anything cruciferous, adding some moisture, adding some broth or some water, but instead of boiling them, I just like to saute them in a little bit of liquid. Therefore, you could totally use no chicken broth, veggie broth to deposit a little bit more flavor, but listen, I was not up to that, nor did I have any on hand. I know, sad. I should have some in my freezer at all times, but I do have a bunch of scraps in there, so I'm gonna be making some broth soon. If you guys haven't seen that video, then you want to watch my first episode of food scrap recipes. Also added in a little bit of garlic. And after my tofu got nice and crispy, honestly, I could have taken it out of the oven before this point, but the couch was probably getting really comfortable and I probably ignored the timer for a few minutes. Sue me. You know how you could tell that I don't really feel like cooking? I make this. Yep, this is literally like my body is holding a gun to my head, therefore I have to consume something before I go to sleep. Otherwise, I'm gonna be up all night. This is the formula. Number 1, rice. 2, a green, and 3, some kind of protein, or maybe even not. Maybe just some sweet potato or something. Really anything. Might not even be any greens in there either. Literally, it's just whatever 2 vegetables are in the refrigerator or on my counter. So one of them could very well be onions, because we know I already got that in inventory, always. Really, I just wanted to use that Japanese barbecue sauce, and I know what else to put it on because I only had tofu. So in retrospect, would have made a better marinade, turned it into a glaze. Yeah, it wasn't horrible, but also wasn't a great dish just like this. So there you go. This was me actually revisiting one of the recipes I've already showed you guys in a previous episode. So this is the banh mi spring rolls, and basically the first time around was a whim. You know how I do. I just take whatever is in my refrigerator and I try to make sense of it. So that was the first time I was making it, and I didn't do some kind of basic things that you would do for an actual banh mi sandwich, like take your carrots and your daikon radish and pickle them. But I don't like daikon. In fact, I hate it. Yeah, I don't really like radishes, so instead I'm using cucumber. So honestly, you can just pickle the carrots and leave the cucumber alone. Use that plain to add some freshness, some crispness, but I really like it together. But since I'm still using what I have in my pantry, instead of like rice vinegar, I'm just using apple cider vinegar. I'm creating my little marinade for my tofu. And if you want this exact recipe, like what I am using here today and not the first video that I posted it in, it's on my blog. So if you guys didn't notice in last week's video, my blog is live. So thanks to Squarespace, I was finally able to bring you guys a platform where you guys can go get all of the text for the recipes. So slowly but surely, I'm going to start rolling out, maybe not every single recipe for my videos, but I'm going to try to take at least my favorites and any of you guys' favorites as well. So if there's definitely a meal that you want to see, make sure that you comment it down below. And I know in my last video I said that I was worried about time management and whether I would be able to keep up with it, but I'm happy to say the platform is so easy to use that I can just kind of jot things down whenever I have time and then schedule my post to go live when it's supposed to be up. So I'm going to try to update that once a week, but do bear with me as we're still in the introductory period. And if you are also in the market to build your own website, your own little space on the internet, go to squarespace.com and start your free trial. And when you're ready to go live, go to squarespace.com/abetweene and get 10% off your purchase. And another recipe that's on the blog is a mushroom scallop dish. I know, just the word mushroom came out of my mouth. Astonishing. But I'm trying to be risky here. I told you guys I was trying to expand my palette, and since I did love the mushroom pasta, like actually loved it, I decided to go all in. Now, was I taking a risk using these thick slices of mushroom? Absolutely. Did it pay off? Not entirely, but I did eat most of them. Not gonna lie, not all of them. Didn't eat all of them. I'm still really glad that I tried this dish because I think that my fiance might like it. Yeah! And while again it is on the website, just a brief overview, what I'm showing you here is that you do have the option of scoring them if you would like to. Personally, I don't really think it's necessary. They cooked beautifully without it, so I mean, unless you just want to create a little bit more texture so that they can really grab onto like sauce. Up to you if you want to go the extra mile, but I just pan-seared them in some vegan butter, and ideally I would have put my shallots in a separate pan because these are not going to cook at the same time, and I was being a little bit premature. But basically I just sauteed my garlic and my shallot and created my little sauce, and then a separate pan is where I would recommend that you grill your mushrooms and really get them to your liking. Then you want to add your pasta to your garlic shallot situation, add a little bit of lemon juice, salt, white pepper, and you can even make it a little bit more herby by adding some thyme, parsley, really up to you. Feel free to have fun with it. I was going for neutral here since this was new to me. I wasn't mad at it, so I would call that a win. And again, you can find the details on the blog. Don't ask me why I don't say the L. Y'all know I'm a Gemini, my twin, she's a little crazy, and I don't argue with her. I just go along with it, okay? And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably remember that clip of me peeling like an entire box of bananas. Well, I actually really like these, and because they were ripening so fast, I threw them into the freezer just to make sure they didn't go to waste. But honestly, you can let these bananas get really ripe. Like, you can let the skin pretty much turn black and they'd probably be fine. But since they were frozen, I threw them into my go-to, a smoothie, of course. I even finished it with some MSM powder, and you guys know, like, this is kind of like one of my go-tos. I love a tropical smoothie, and then I love to throw some greens in it because since it's so naturally sweet from that pineapple, you're gonna be able to hide a lot. So feel free to put all of your like really healthy supplements into this and it'll taste delicious. Next day, I had a salad and I made my own salad dressing, and I have never tried green goddess dressing, so I wanted to try my hand at that. And a quick Google search basically said that it was like sour cream, anchovies, tarragon, and some other herb, which is what I'm adding here. I put that into a base of pre-soaked cashews with some water, added some spices, and voila. The full recipe will be in the description box down below. And as you can see, this made quite a bit. So not only did I have enough for this salad, I had enough for like 4 more salads, of which this was just romaine, bell pepper, jalapeno, and I haven't been showing y'all any tea lately, so let me put y'all on to what I have been loving lately. Brooklyn Tea, I ordered a bunch of stuff from them like a couple of months ago, and that is why this little packet is so small, because I basically got a bunch of samplers, it being my first time purchasing. And as you guys probably remember from my kitchen tour, I have a little station that I'd like to switch up every now and then. So what I've done is I've taken some of the tea from my like larger pouches that I got from them, and I put it into my upcycled jars, and the labels come off pretty clean, so you can put that onto your jar or onto another container. And on there is not only the name of the tea, but the temperature of water you should use and the steep time. So this is a combination of that blueberry, the first one that I showed you, and I think sarsaparilla. If you like really fruity teas, definitely get the blueberry. It's so good. And I told y'all in 2021, I am moving different. So that means eating more foods that make me feel good. And what makes me feel good is raw food. So here I'm actually making a raw spaghetti, which again, I shared with you on Insta stories. Why aren't you following me already? I gotta say this every week. So anyway, child, I peeled a zucchini, only one, because this contraption was getting on my nerves. Do I recommend this? Absolutely not, because you can get a larger version, which doesn't require that you do so much manual labor, but also takes up a lot of storage and counter space. So I'm actually gonna link like the OG one I used to use a couple of years ago when I was actually fully raw. If you want to get a handheld, totally up to you. Just know it's going to be labor intensive and take probably way too long, and then you're going to be like, never mind. So long story short, only one zucchini made it into this dish. And for the marinara, I am using a base of predominantly sun-dried tomatoes, which is gonna help the texture and the color as well as the flavor, just to give it like a little bit more depth. Then we're gonna add in one fresh tomato and surprisingly a couple of strawberries. But actually not really, because if you think about it, like tomato is a fruit. So we're gonna bring out that sweetness by way of another fruit. You can add whatever you prefer as a sweetener, even a date. I also added in some bell pepper, shallot, my spices. And if you think you need it, you can add a little bit of your soak water, but my tip to you, blend it first. Chances are you don't need it. And then I made another raw dish, but this time dessert, because you guys have asked me quite a few times like how come I don't like bake and stuff, and basically this is why. I used to have really bad habits, especially with sweets, and so they're just not the first thing that I reach for, especially knowing full well that I can substitute them with healthier options. And the easy way to limit my access is to not make them, but if I want them I can go purchase them. So this is chia seed pudding, and this is another recipe that I've shared on my Insta stories. I want to say like probably like over a year ago, and I don't know why I'm just now showing it to you guys on YouTube, because this is something I used to make all of the time. The only reason why I haven't lately though is because it does require a little bit of prep in that you do want to pre-soak your cashews, and I just normally do that process overnight. Is that required? It's not absolutely necessary, but especially if you're not using like what you would consider a high-powered blender or food processor, then you might definitely want to do that, because it's just going to get it really smooth and turn it into this, which is a cashew cream. So we don't want milk, and this is the key step, because any chia seed pudding that you've potentially bought at like a store, they always use something that is entirely too watery, and that is the kind of chia pudding that I hate. This chia pudding is inspired by a recipe that I got from a book actually when I first went raw, and I found it to be really helpful. I'll put it down in the description box, but their recipe involved a banana. But what I do is I just slice up the banana and use it as a topping. You want to refrigerate this for like at least an hour, and in that process, the chia seeds are going to swell up from the liquid, but since I use a smaller ratio of chia seeds to liquid, I'm still gonna have some residual cream, which is really gonna lend to that texture. So again, it's not gonna be anything like the slimy little seeds. This is actual pudding. So again, top this with some banana and some cacao nibs. Chef's kiss. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know what you want to see. And don't forget to subscribe for more like this next week. Bye.